and queers who forget about struggling to adult. We're struggling to human.
At least that's what everyone's telling us.
You're right.
Per usual. Hey, I'm Angela, bringing sense to the conversation. From here on my soapbox, I shed light on the things society doesn't want you to talk about. You know, the real shit that matters: intersectional thinking, sexuality, queerness, neurodiversity, consent, and the fact that self-care is bullshit. For me, it's all about community and how we can care for each other.
And I'm Molly, giving a big fork you to cookie cutter solutions. I help burnt out, busy as fuck, neurodivergent, and queer entrepreneurs make shit happen by providing out-of-the-box solutions and sustainable systems to grow your biz. For me, it's all about doing what makes sense for your brain.
Enough with the chit-chat. Let's get to it.
Keep listening, and together we'll explore the drudgery, dreams, and all that shit in between. Get ready to call bullshit on what everyone's saying you should be doing,
as we navigate the spectrum between what really matters to you and the shit keeping you from it.
Hey, everybody. It's been... Sorry. I do the same thing. I am so distracted by the fact that we did the same thing. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Welcome back to Drudgery and Dreams 2023 edition. Today, we're just talking about kind of how we've transitioned, what's been happening, our anti-resolutions for this 2023. And honestly, we've kind of had like a weird start. Like it's been like rocky, but not unstable. I feel like at least for me.
It's been a rough transition into the new year. Like,
it's been weird. And like a lot of people that I've talked to, especially neurodivergent humans, that has been kind of the same for them. Like we joke, because I know you aren't into as much of the like retrograde stuff as I am, but like
Mercury's in retrograde.
Yes. But like I haven't heard of anything significant about that. But I was joking that like all the things must be in retrograde because it feels like it. But yeah, because it's been kind of weird because we've had a couple times where we were like, hey, we're gonna do our episode, and we both woke up like or one of us woke up the night before and we're like, nope, the day before.
Yeah, like it's not happening.
That we are not doing that tomorrow. That is not happening. Yep. And so I'm excited to finally be here and doing this episode. But one of the big things for me, and I feel like this is something that varies across the entire ND spectrum, is the ability to hit reset. And I know I messaged you about this because I was like, we need to talk about this. I have trained myself to reset on a daily basis. Like if you just go to bed, we can just try and start over tomorrow with like new emotions, maybe. But when I was a kid, it would take me like quarters or years to reset. So New Year's always felt like I could be a new person as a kid. Now I still have that like sense of reset, but talking with other people, that is not common necessarily among the ND community. And I know that's specifically true for my little human. My kiddo never resets. Like there's no reset button on that child. So do you reset? Are you a resetter? Is that how you say
that? With intention. I have to intentionally do it. This is a practice that I have had to work on, and it really depends on my energy levels and how things are going. If it takes me time, effort, and energy to reset. So if I don't have time, effort, and energy to do that, it doesn't happen.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. So my brain just died. This happens.
Reset it
all the time. Blink. Okay. And so that lack of resetting kind of feeds into the anti-resolutions that we're talking about. Like, I feel like New Year's resolutions are setting people up for failure because they are these exaggerated, unrealistic, unattainable goals. Like, and mostly I feel like because people don't think about all the steps it takes to get to that ridiculously high unattainable goal. And
I
so
think they're ridiculous because they're based on what other people think we should be doing.
it can be, yeah.
So often it is because there's some social norm
Yeah.
that, like, you're fat, therefore you need to lose weight.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, this is one of the biggest resolutions is weight loss. And and it's like, okay, let's look at that. Is this something that you want? Or is it something that you're doing because you should?
There's air quotes on the should. She had air quotes.
Always.
I know she didn't do it, but I knew they were there. Um, yes, and I do struggle because I'm always like, oh, it's a new year. I'm gonna start this over. Um, but I am also one of those people that I'm like, well, I'm not running a marathon this year because I run one step and get out of breath. Therefore, this year I'm gonna go walking. Like, so I can break down like realistic steps, but that I think is the hardest part for a lot of people is like because just working with a lot of my clients, like specifically
Like, having the executive function to identify the smaller pieces that are required to get to the big piece.
yes. And like that is what I get the most is I want a amazing client experience with all of these like bells and whistles. And I want it done in 6 weeks.
If
What?
it's the clit experience,
Sideline,
all the
guys.
bells and whistles.
Sideline, guys. So I am doing a summit that's coming up. And if you would like more information about that, please join my email list because I will be emailing everybody. Um, but I made a landing page and it was supposed to say client experience guide, but I forgot some letters and it looked like it was going to be the clit experience guide. And that's a
It
whole
had
other
lots of
summit.
bells and whistles, y'all.
It
Lots
had
of them.
so many bells and whistles. Anyway, join me at the summit. No, I mean, yes, but anyway, the point God damn it. The point was a lot of my clients really struggle with like taking that big grand dream, which is a valid dream, which I am more than happy to help them achieve, but they can't figure out or understand without me like literally writing out a schedule and a timeline and a calendar and whatever else how many pieces are a part of those things.
Mhm.
And that is a lot of times why I think people fail at the goals is because if you don't have the executive function to do that on your own and you haven't asked somebody to help you do that, then you're working at a goal that you don't even know the next step. So, how are you going to achieve that step? And so, I
Mhm.
think it's very important that um, we talk about community a lot. We talk about support systems. And I usually, a lot of times, have executive function skills. But when I don't, Angela gets a call and I rely on Angela to use her skills to help me figure out what I need when I am needing support. And so the moral of my story here, which was really long and very roundabout, is it is important that if you are going to set goals, regardless of what time of year, that you have somebody help you and support you in breaking down those goals into realistic, attainable steps for you, not attainable steps for Susan in accounting, attainable steps for you. Um, Same thing with your kids. If your kids come to you and say, Mom or Bapa, whatever your title is, I want to become a famous, let's say footballer, soccer player. I'm watching too much British television. I want to be a famous soccer player. You're not going to like throw them on a field with a bunch of adults. Like you're going to take them to pee-wee soccer and help them learn soccer skills and get them a soccer ball and practice soccer ball. Like, oh my God, why can't I talk? Practice soccer balling? I can't get through the sentence. You're going to help them in easy, attainable ways to get what they want. So I'm going to stop talking on that subject because I feel like I'm.
So I'll
feeling
jump in
eroded.
on this.
Yes.
So really, here's the thing. When we're doing things for ourselves, we have this added pressure that sucks away some of the energy and makes the executive functioning more difficult. And then we get down on ourselves because we're like, I can do this every day for other people and I can't do it for myself. What the hell? But the reason we can't do it for ourselves is because of that energy expenditure, because it's ours and it belongs to us, and the additional investment and the beliefs that we have about ourselves and all of this. So asking for support, knowing who in your group of people can help support you on that is really important. Like, I know when I go to Molly and I say, I can't see this. I can't see the bits and pieces of this. I'm not going to be judged, but I'm going to be supported. And I'm going to be called on my BS when I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense, or no, that's not how I'm going to do it, or whatever. That she's going to come out and say, no.
It's true.
I hear that that's how you want to do it, but that's not your pattern. That's not how you do the things. So let's be realistic on this, and vice versa. So, there are reasons why New Year's resolutions fail.
Yeah.
And I don't do New Year's resolutions because never once in my life did I ever set a New Year's resolution that was about me. It was always in conversations with other people. What are your New Year's resolutions? Oh, I'm supposed to set a New Year's resolution. This is the thing. This is what everybody does. This is the norm. But really, when it comes down to it, is we set goals for ourselves when we have something that we want, not at a particular day of the year because somebody said you're supposed to hit the reset button. Because honestly, every moment of every day, we have the opportunity to make decisions or to change the way that we do things. And we don't need some date, some random, we don't need that. And what happens is we think that we have to wait for that, right? So we go through, this is what people do. I'm going to enjoy the holidays. And then on the first, I'm going to just change everything just like that.
Good luck, Gladys. I don't think that's going to work.
I mean, come on.
No offense.
Neurodivergent, neurotypical, it doesn't matter. For most people, that's not how things work.
Yeah. And why does this happen to me every time I have a great comment and then I go to say it and then I stare at you like my head is empty?
I mean, I'm handsome, so it's okay.
You are. Now I'm extra distracted. Thank you. Gladys, we're just gonna, we're just gonna let it go. This is gonna piss me off. Oh, you can change your mind at any point. Like, I think we say this. I think we said this in like 3 or 4 episodes. I know I say it on my social a lot. Like, every moment of every day, you are experiencing something new and you are learning a new lesson, which alters the way you perceive and make patterns and do all of this shit that our brains like to dissect, which means that what you knew 3 minutes ago and what you know right now could be vastly different,
Yep.
especially if somebody just like blew your mind with some fact that will alter the way
Hi.
you take your next moment. So it is absolutely okay. And I would encourage you to change your mind when you are met with new information that influences how you are going to act in a situation. And I feel like it is tragic that people think that they cannot change their mind because they've been conditioned to think that changing your mind makes you weak or wishy-washy, when that is absolutely not the truth, not the point, fact, not the truth. I can't think. It is absolutely the point. Changing your mind is actually the point of learning. Like, please change your
At least
mind.
questioning
Yes.
yourself, which I will admit that there are times, I come off as rather arrogant a lot of times because of this, like, okay, and where's the proof? Show
Mm,
me the evidence. Like, I'm not this person who is just like, okay.
right.
um I want to see the evidence. And that's great. That's fine. But when I see the evidence, I have the right to change my mind. And it doesn't make me bad. It doesn't even make me like, I think so many people are resistant to that. I was wrong.
Oh, mhm.
I mean, I don't like being wrong. I really hate being wrong. Actually, I cry when I'm wrong because it frustrates me so much. Um, but I don't always express my emotions the way I want to. I could, yeah.
I wasn't you're allowed to cry,
Um,
Angela.
yeah, yeah. So I often cry when I'm wrong about something because I am very rigid in the way that I think and when I know that I'm right about something. And then if I'm proven wrong, the transition from going from one thought process to this other new thing and moving into that and accepting that as real or as fact can be difficult.
Especially when your brain is very cut dry. Not you specifically, but like if you have a thought pattern that is like the things that I know are true and the things that I don't know are false, that's going to be a problem when you're trying to take in more information, because now you are entering a transition zone,
Yep.
and this is a new transition. And if we do not transition well, which most of us do not, um, we're going to have some stumbles and frustrations and huge emotions and all of that. So remember that not only for yourself, but your littles as well, especially if your littles are ND. Um, they learn new big facts every moment of every day. Like, imagine how much a 2-year-old is learning in one day when they've only known like the inside of their living room. So anytime that they're expanding and learning, they're either going to be super excited or super frustrated because we've just expanded all of that. Um, Sorry, mom life has taken over recently, so all of my all of my reminders are, "Hey, remember the littles."
Well, and as you're talking about that, I'm going, and let's look at how much has changed in the last couple of years.
Right.
COVID blew open conversations about mental health, about disability, about accessibility. Um, and so we have a lot of people who are transitioning into new thought processes in the workplace.
Oh, yes.
And we're like, well, yeah, duh, you dumbass. But for them, it's not duh. It's truly a new thought process because this is not something that they've personally experienced. So they're having to step out of themselves and look at things in this way that is um, scary and
Mhm.
new. And don't get me wrong, I am not making excuses for dumbassery. In no way, shape, or form am I making excuses for somebody who is stupid, who, and by stupid, I mean they know that they don't know, and they are not willing to take the steps to learn. That's what I call wearing the stupid hat.
Right.
On the other hand, there are a lot of people who are ignorant and they don't know that they don't know.
Right.
These are the people who we have to be gentle with because they're the people who can change.
Right. And there's going
They're
to
the
be a significant difference between how those two types of people respond to a situation.
Yes, but those people hear the backlash and the frustration from people like myself who are very frustrated at the stupidity, and therefore we lash out or we say something on social media or we make a comment about, oh, I'm so tired of, and you have this person who is ignorant and now they're feeling ashamed and now they're defensive and now they're not in a space where they can learn because we've just taken all of the energy that they had to make that transition and they're expending that energy on dealing with the shame that they're feeling. And so it's really important that we think about that as we're having conversations and as we're saying things of how is this affecting all of the people in the middle? Because here's what tends to happen. You've got the people on the ends and they talk back and forth at each other. And then you've got the people in the middle and they're getting whiplash, like, and so all of their energy is being expended on that instead of being part of the conversation and being able to transition into this new space that we are branching into in the disability community, right? And it's the same in the queer community. It's exactly the same. And those conversations are happening right now too. There's a lot of conversations happening around gender right now, and so I think, and I know people don't want to hear this, like I'm tired of being the one who has to make concessions all of the time. But knowledge is power, and when you have power, you have to be aware of that and how that power is expended. And unfortunately, ours is brain power. And so, yes, we are making concessions in order to reach the goals that we have at the end. And on the days when we're really, really frustrated and angry about that, our community is there to support us. So I guess the point is be careful not to alienate that community, like with hateful comments. Because I've been seeing a lot of that. Like just side A versus side Z over here, spouting hate at each other. And because of that, we're not getting anywhere. And if let them over here make asses of themselves by spouting hate. We can say what we want to say and we can make our point without being hateful.
I don't have much to add to that. I don't have anything to add to that. Yes. Okay. I just sat there mesmerized listening to you, and now I need to find us a new direction. And I am just having an empty brain today.
Okay, so let's go with this. Point
ironic.
being, don't make a resolution to like just change exactly everything right now. If you have been struggling in something, it's okay that it's not fixed tomorrow or because it's the first of the year now it's changed. it's a transition to get there, and it takes time, and there are steps to getting there. So have self compassion with yourself as you are moving into that whatever new space for whatever goal you have set for yourself. Um, whether it's a resolution or some like a new business goal or something, right? And have compassion for others who are doing the same thing.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Oh my God. I keep having a thought and it goes away. This is the most ironic thing ever, right? I feel like we're talking about this like rough, rocky start, and I'm literally just having brain fart after brain fart. Or brain constipation at this point. Oh, I know. Another thing that we've been dealing with over the course of the past couple of days, and things is you and I have been talking about neurodivergent friendly courses and testing. That was the other big thing that came up. And
Yep.
I think Saber even reached out about homeschooling materials that are neurodivergent and
Right. And I've been
inclusive.
writing policy and contracts, and
Mm.
in doing so, writing them to be fully accessible.
Ooh.
Yeah,
That's a big difference than the standard. Fully accessible is very different from the standard.
it is. It
Uh,
is like contracts that aren't just a whole bunch of words and paragraphs, but plain English, bullet points. Like, why does it have to be so hard? Oh, so that people won't read it and they'll remain ignorant to their rights. Let's change that and make sure that's not happening. So, in my company, I am making sure that that is not the case as we are onboarding people and volunteers and making all of that happen. It is going to be fully accessible to anybody who is wanting to come in and join us on our endeavor.
yes. And I had an eye-opening experience myself. Like I have always been like, oh, I can take a test or whatever. Yeah. And never really thought about it much or how different we think.
Hmm.
Um, and I took a test that was semi-scenario based, and it was not neurodivergent friendly at all. So much so that I ended up talking to other people who took the test, and all of the people that didn't do well on the test were neurodivergent. And I was like, oh, this is a bigger thing than I thought. It's not just this one test. It's all the tests. Are all the tests. And so like you're talking about your contracts, I have been paying closer attention to kind of like my email trains where people are struggling in the different concepts that we're talking. And like if somebody's like, oh, I did not take that from what you said, I rewrite it. Because if they don't get it, somebody else is probably not going to get it. And so like one of these things as we move forward, I am challenging myself to like when I experience something that doesn't make sense, regardless of who is sending it, I am going to tell them, hey, this does not make sense. But this is the key part. And here's why.
Hmm.
I think if this is what you meant, then maybe try doing this. And if this is what you meant, try doing this. And if neither one of those two things are what you meant, we have a bigger problem. But like just trying to help, like as you said, educate people in a way that is people who are trying, I should say, people who are trying to be more available, accessible words, taking small efforts and not just being like, oh gosh, they just don't want us.
Mhm.
What if they just don't know that they're doing something? Like, oops, now I got fuzzy. And kind of helping them see, oh, that is probably not helpful.
And and it is okay if you don't have the time, effort, and energy to help them.
Yeah.
Right? So this is one of the things. Like the oppressed groups are now put into positions where they have to teach the oppressor how not to oppress. No, you do not have to spend your time, effort, and energy doing
Mm-mm.
that. However, you can let somebody know so that they can take the steps to learn.
Yeah. I personally, because of how I process information, I'm not arguing with you. I'm just giving my example. I personally, me saying that doesn't work makes me feel like I'm not giving them any direction and they could get worse before they get better.
Mm-hmm.
So I tend to be like, this doesn't work because object permanence or,
Right.
XYZ, whatever. Just to give them like an inkling of where to start. Because if I were to say to, oh, this is an example. My kiddo was in a preschool, like a just random preschool, not school associated. And they were using a behavioral chart where they publicly would move pins. And my kiddo was always at the bottom because guess what? ADHD. And I was like, this isn't fair. Well, ADHD and autism. And I was like, this isn't fair. Blaine's never going to get to where you want because Blaine can't sit still. And if I hadn't have said why, it would have just been like whiny parent mode. Like, I just don't think that's right.
Right.
So that is best example.
Right, but it wasn't your responsibility to give them all of the answers on
Mm-mm.
how they could change. It's great if you have the time, effort, and energy to be able to do that, but that's not your responsibility or your sole responsibility. Once they have been notified, this is a problem and it's a problem because now it's their responsibility to take action to
Yeah.
make adjustments in their process, and that's the thing. A lot of times, it is put on us to solve the problem,
Mm.
and we are already expending all of our time, effort, and energy trying to survive within the problem. So we're at a point where it's really important that people who are not expending their time, effort, and energy living within the problem to come in and support. And so when we're saying transitions are really hard for me, or I need these adjustments being made because I'm neurodivergent, or we need to look at some policies and start changing some things because in my queer experience, filling out job application after job application after job application that says gender, male, female. First of all, that's not gender. Secondly, that's a binary that many people don't fit into, and that creates this stressful space that doesn't need to be created, so that needs to be changed. And now it's not my responsibility to tell you exactly how to change it. It's not my responsibility to go in and recode your employment shit. It's now your responsibility because it's been brought to your attention.
Now I want to go off on that tangent. Why the fuck do they need to know your gender for a job interview? How is that even
When was the last
establishing
time
your
you filled out a job application?
prior to the military, Angela?
Or for that matter, I mean, really anything. Like there are so many forms. Oh, and now there are forms, people are like, "Oh, we're going to put pronouns on the form." And it's she, he, they.
What about all the other ones?
Like just leave it open and let people self-identify instead of putting them into these little boxes.
Right.
You know? Yes.
Yeah. I take that back. I filled out a form before Blaine was born, but that was a long time ago. Yes. That just Anyway. Okay. Well, moral of today's episode. Because I feel like we visited a couple different tangents and side shoots and rabbit holes.
I mean, we have a whole 5 weeks or so of stuff that we've got to talk about.
Blah. Not bad blah, but get it all out. Is that if you choose yourself to do a resolution, make sure it is something that you want for yourself. That's what makes it the anti-resolution. Is that it's something for yourself and that it is something that you yourself can achieve. And if you aren't sure if you can achieve it, which is a valid point, ask your buddy to help you through this and figure out a way to help you achieve it. Also, don't be a hateful asshole. I feel like that was one of the points.
Always.
Advocate, but don't feel responsible to fix the problem yourself. Am I missing one?
Along with having self-compassion, when you yourself feel limited, have compassion for ignorance.
Yes.
Because ignorant people can grow, and we don't want to alienate them.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. Am I missing it? Oh, and if you want to join me at the summit, join me at the summit where we'll talk about client experiences, not CLIT experience guides.
That's a different summit.
Totally different summit, but this summit is going to be great. So
yeah, at the CLIT experience summit, you have to reach the climax before you can come down.
This one's just unlocking biz secrets. It's the biz secret summit. No clits were harmed in the making of this summit. They're going to hate me for this.
I mean, okay, but part of business is sometimes we make these kinds of errors, and they're funny. And let's this one got attention. This one got some attention. Well-deserved attention, y'all.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Well-deserved. Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to Drudgery, Dreams, and In Between, a weekly live podcast coming to you every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Central, 7 a.m. Pacific. If you're catching this live on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our channel for updates when we're back here next week. For all you podcast geeks, subscribe on your fave podcast app. We're on them all. If you'd like to support the podcast, be sure to leave a rating and review and share with your friends. To catch all the latest from us, visit us at drudgeryanddreams.com and follow on your favorite social media platforms at Drudgery and Dreams. Thanks again. See you next time.
See you, everybody.